and welcome to one of our book reviews for sports coaches. So today I'm having a look at two books. One is Starting Strength by Mark Rippetoe, and the other is Athletic Development by Vern Gambetta. Both these books are on my recommended reading list for sports coaches and PE teachers, and you can see the link here. So, starting off with Starting Strength by Mark Rippetoe. This book is it's called Basic Barbell Training, and it covers several different lifts, the basic lifts, or say basic lift, it makes them complex. So the squat, the press, deadlift, bench press. He also covers power clean and a little bit of the power snatch as well. Now, if you want a book that teaches you or where you can learn more in depth about those lifts, this is the book for you. Okay, it goes into great depth about each exercise. And what I like especially about the book, he's got really good diagrams explaining the biomechanics, and these are almost like cartoonish type drawings, but they make the concepts very easy to understand, and he goes into which I haven't seen elsewhere. So sometimes just where the barbell places on the neck and the spine, you can just get a feeling for it and see it. It does come with photos as well. I don't think the photos help much. They're okay, they're black and white, but the diagrams, as you can see, I think definitely are the strength of this book, if that's not too much of a pun. He's really good about how to do the breathing, the coaching cues, and all the different anatomy that goes in between each of those lifts. Okay, so I think that I definitely think for the things like the deadlift, the squat, and the press, superb, and you can't beat what's going on in here. Power clean and power snatch, I'm less keen on as a weightlifting coach. We don't really do much of the power variations. I think it's hard to coach the athletes, so we do the full variations. So I think it's at the end of the book, and it feels like it's at the end of the book as well. But he does teach, does add some coaching cues for everything else. Now, he's really good about wrist position, back position, foot position, and things like this, and common correcting problems. So he gives the faults and how to correct them, and I think that's good coaching. Okay. The downside of this book that I think is that it becomes just too dependent on the barbell strength, and I think a lot of strength coaches just think, right, just get stronger. So here's a flavour of his writing. Here's one of the most important facts about training for strength or power or sports or anything else. It is always true that a man with a 500-pound deadlift will clean more than a man with a 200-pound deadlift. At its very core, power is dependent upon strength. Force production capacity that does not exist cannot be displayed quickly or otherwise. Well, power equals force time, I won't go into that. But you can also develop power by speed as well, you see, so it just becomes then a strength thing. However, between two men who both deadlift 500 pounds, the one moving it faster is producing more acceleration, more force over a short time frame, and thus more power. Okay, this capacity is the ultimate difference between a strong man and a strong athlete. The power clean is an incrementally increasable way to develop this power. Incrementally increasable way. Don't know about the grammar there, but anyway. And that's where I start to disagree, because then becomes the stronger you are, the better an athlete you are, which becomes to a certain extent we want a minimum level of strength, but then you get into a tailspin of just getting stronger and stronger and stronger without applying context. So that's where I think this book is good, but limited as just having the barbell as the only method of training and getting stronger. Conversely, Athletic Development. The subtitle is The Art and Science of Functional Sports Conditioning. Now, Gambetta, I think, might have invented the term functional conditioning in 2007 when this book was first printed, and it's been bastardized and corrupted since. But this book hardly even mentions barbells as maximal strength training. Instead, it talks a lot about different strength training types of context. Now, Gambetta had a history of working with baseball, basketball and soccer, football for us in the UK, and he learnt and developed these programs working with those athletes. Now, a lot of that is road travel, and they have to be fast and good endurance athletes as well. So having maximal strength may be less relevant or even less implementable, if that's a word, less easy to implement. So what this book is really good at is looking at the overall athletic process, and Gambetta does a good job of explaining things about how core training, for example, if you're throwing, the throw doesn't just come from the arm, it comes from the transfer of the trunk and the legs, and how to develop synchronization and coordination. So you get a lot of these words in here. Here's a flavour of something about context. Okay, so it's all right understanding these components, but it's how you apply them in context. So compare and contrast this to starting strength. Context is a key element of a system. It establishes the nature of the relationship of the various components of training within the system. What you do today in training should fit with what you did yesterday and must flow into what you will do tomorrow. The same is true for the components of training. Perhaps the biggest violation of the principle of context is to take one component, such as speed or strength, and train that to the exclusion of all other physical qualities. This is fundamentally unsound. It is possible to design a program which a component is emphasized for a phase, yes, but it should be kept in proportion to the other components and put into the context of the whole training plan. If the principle of context is not observed, then the components of training will get out of proportion and adaptation will not occur at the predicted level. The best way to keep everything in context is to thoroughly plan. Well, I think that paragraph, lengthy as it is, should be pinned up on every strength coach's planning board, because we too often get caught up in, like, if we can get this number improved, whatever it is, whether it's speed or agility or strength, then we're doing a better job. It's quite often common to see people losing context, but then you've got a number to show that you've done a better job. However, what we want to do is create better athletes, and our job as athletic development coaches or strength and conditioning coaches is to help the athletes survive and thrive in their training, their actual sport-specific training. And that's where I think this is good. Gambetta also, for those of you who like program ideas, he does put a load of programs together. And this is heavy on body weight exercises, medicine ball exercises, dumbbells, and as I alluded to earlier, this could be in context with this type of sport he worked with and also the amount of travel involved. But you can implement these almost straight away. And when I was starting out as an athletic development coach, I used a lot of these programs. Got photographs which do show some of the exercises, and there's quite a lot of these. I think it's hard to learn them from this book, but the planning and the sequencing and the context, as I said, are really good. I think, of course, when these books were written originally, video was on DVDs or VHS tapes. Now we've got YouTube and Instagram, so it's a lot easier to see it. The downside, and this is why I do these book reviews of those videos, is you lack context. I'll come back to this one. Whereas this book is really good on applying that. I mean, I think some of the exercises are, here, for example, strength endurance has got a list of exercises here and a list of exercises here, so you just get a list of exercises, and a bit hard to implement sometimes. Does talk about plyometrics, some basic ideas there, and some sprint development exercises as well. I think this would be a must-read when you're starting out as a coach and even revisiting, to think about how can I put everything together, especially working with team sports, and you've only got little amounts of time. So you've got 15 minutes here or 20 minutes here, you've got a warm-up here and a warm-up there, you're on the road, you've got to cool down. Sometimes you have 2 days between matches, sometimes you have 7 days. So I think a lot of answers or a lot of good ideas you'll find in this book. Anyway, do recommend both books. This has been really useful for learning and helping teach barbell training for me, and this for overall context and a different type of idea and view of a continuum of training. Okay, so there's my recommendations for today. Please like, comment or share, and thanks for watching.